there was a mission where we'd gone to one of these outposts to assess, for lack of a better word. And we went into this compound, and it was the base, and it had become like a police compound now. And I was the intel guy, and my OIC, my officer, and then a couple other gunners, like machine gunners, had come into the compound with me. And we were going to spend the overnight there. It was supposed to be like 2 or 3 days. And then we had the rest of our teams up in the hills, like Overwatch. So like Eddie, a few of the snipers were in different positions, keeping an eye on us. While we were there, and all day long was just meetings. And I'm just like meeting with guys and trying to like get information from them and like hear their stories and see how the bases are running. And that's all it was. It was fairly straightforward. And then while we were like in the middle of it one day, some dudes had come down, like they were like, I don't know, like a mile away. And they'd come down a road in our direction. They had AKs, and the C-130 overhead had called them out, and our snipers took shots and dropped them. And it was cool. It was like a mile away, like very impressive shots. And
what platform were they using?
I think they were 300 Win Mags. I wasn't a sniper at the time. I'm still not a sniper, but I like to hunt.
Yeah.
I think there were 300 Win Mags, but very impressive shots, because I remember I was listening in on the radio, and pilots who never lose their cool were like, oh yeah, right on, man. Like they were stoked. So I knew, I was like, yep, that's cool. And then it all kind of calmed down for a little bit. And while these meetings are going on, and we're in a police compound, all of a sudden a vehicle comes in, and we had seen that the 2 guys who had been shot, one of them was dragged into a building, and the Taliban upside down flag, the upside down flag, which meant they were like Taliban supporters, they had taken one body, and then this other guy, I guess, they put him in a car and they drove him to our compound. And they come in and they're like, you shot a cop. And now our sniper shot these guys, but it's me, and now like I'm and my OIC and a few other guys, we're like the representatives of this death. He was still alive, and he was in real bad shape. He took a 300 Win Mag to like sub belly button, above dick, like groin shot. And he had been bleeding out for a while. I don't know how he was still alive. It'd been like an hour. And they packed his wound, but they're fucking screaming at us, and like they've got their guns on him, and they're like yelling, and we're just like trying to keep the peace, because everything is like, are we going to get into a gunfight in this police alley? And so we start working on him. We had a corpsman with us, a Navy corpsman, and so I'm helping him out, and he's kind of like telling me what to do, and we're running around the base trying to get like a respirator and things like that. The problem was, every time we would pump the guy, like, let me back up. He was awake, and then he would like die. His heart would stop and everything. So we'd start chest compressions, and then he would live. He'd like wake up and be like, breathing again. And it went on for like maybe an hour total time. But every time you'd pump his chest, you were like pushing out blood. So it's kind of a moot point, but we had to show that we were trying to keep this guy alive.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to keep their police guy alive. But something didn't add up to me. It was like, I kept saying, who is this guy? And we don't know. But he's a cop? Yeah, he's one of us. And what's his name? We don't know. I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. So the corpsman kind of takes over for a second. I run over. I still have like fucking blood all over my hands and body. And I'm like, I grab a kid who was with them in the car. I grab the driver of the car, and then I grab some random cop who was part of this group, and I separate them, and then I go one by one and interrogate each one. So the first guy I go up to is the kid. Best people to interrogate or to question is the kids, because you be nice to them, but they're honest. Kids don't lie. So I go up to the kid, and I'm like, what's this guy's name? Oh, I don't know. What's this guy's name? And so he knows all these things, but he doesn't know who this guy is, but he knows who these guys are. And then I asked the guy who was with him in the car. He doesn't know his name, but he knows he's he knows he's a police officer. I'm like, why is he only wearing the police pants? He's not wearing the uniform. Oh, I don't know. Does he live here? I don't know. But the kid has never seen this guy before. He doesn't know who he is. He just knows like they're talking to him. But if the kid lives in the village and he's never seen this guy before, that means the guy doesn't live in the village. So something's fucking up with this guy. Long story short, I get the big picture. And the guy's dual hatting. So he's like Taliban by night, cop by day, collects 2 paychecks. So I figure it all out, and then that's when I was like, all right, this is fully justified. And I go up to the police chief, and I'm like, you don't know his name because he's fucking Taliban, and you know it.
Did you have an interpreter?
Yeah, sorry. So I look at the guy, let the interpreter talk. And I told it to him. I'm like, straight up, like this is why you're being weird about it, is because you don't know him, but you know he's Taliban, and you know he's also a cop, and you're getting all bent out of shape for nothing. And he kind of admits, he's like, okay, yes, we don't know who he is. But it was very common in Afghanistan where they would collect paychecks. And it was whether for greed or because they were forced to. It didn't matter. That was pretty common. I think I was happy with it because it proved we didn't shoot the wrong guys. Yeah. We shot the right dudes.
It's like the Viet Cong in Vietnam, you know, like working in the barbershop during the day and tunnel ratting at night, you know, against Americans. Like, it's textbook.
Yeah.
You said that in the car, were the sniper shots from, was he walking around? Is that how they shot him, or?
Yeah, I guess he had his, they had their AKs and they were walking towards us down the road. They shot him, and then there was like this downtime where we don't know where they went. And then 30 minutes later, he came back all bandaged up. So somebody was like tending to him. But then they brought him to us because they figured we'd have medics on us, and we did, but he needed a blood transfusion. That's what the medic had said. He's like, dude, this guy needs a blood transfusion. And to get a helicopter to come do that for a dude who's shooting, it was not happening.
Yeah.
So we just had to like buy time. And so I pump in the guy's chest, and I've told this story a number of times, and I think in a way it's a little bit therapeutic because as much as I was like, fuck this guy, whenever your hands are on a person who's dying, it's like there's an emotional experience. Like you're connecting with this like body and the soul. And so every time he'd wake up, he'd like put his hands on my face, just kind of like, you know, he's like fighting for his life. And I was like, stop touching my fucking face. And so he would pass on, and then we'd pump him, and it just kept going on and on and on. And finally the guy passed. And really like the funny part of this story was earlier that day, I had bought a goat because I saw this goat farmer, and I was like, that'd be really nice to have a nice meal tonight, like a freshly cooked goat for the platoon. And so I buy this goat, and all day we were watching him, like he butcher the goat, started like skinning it, getting it ready. And then all this shit went down, and they're like, life for a life, like you just killed one of our guys. What are you going to give us? They like kept saying this, and I looked over, and that goat was like just fully butchered and ready to go. And I was like, how about a goat? And they accepted, and I was like, fuck, man. If I died, I hope my life wouldn't be like, you know, my family's like, okay, you gave us a goat. All right, Mike's good to go.
Yeah. I think it paints a very real picture of what life is like there. I mean, something that I won't say that's that simple, because it's not, but something that I guess maybe on the surface seems that simple speaks volumes to what life is like there, and the value or the lack of value put on human life there.